Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli wa nusallimu ala rasulih al-kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawm ad-din. Faqad qala Allahu tabaraka wa ta'ala fil Qur'an al-kareem wal furqan al-hamid. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Faqra'u ma tayassara min al-Qur'an. وعن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها قالت سألت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الالتفات في الصلاة فقال هو اختلاس يختلسه الشيطان من صلاة العبد متفق عليه. صدق الله مولانا العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح. ربي زدني علما. اللهم صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. My dear respected brothers and sisters, we continue inshallah with the mufsidat of salah, those factors that cause the salah to become invalid. We spoke about initially the fara'id of salah, the prerequisites of salah. We went on and we spoke about the compulsory elements of salah, and then we spoke about the wajib elements of salah, and we spoke about the sunnah elements of salah. We continue with those factors that cause the salah to become invalid. If we do it, the salah will become totally incomplete. We cannot build upon it. We cannot build upon it. And there are situations that are mentioned by the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam whereby a person can continue his salah, go and make wudu and come back. That is according to Ahnaf. And that is the chapter of hadath fi salah, obtaining and experiencing some type of breaker of wudu whilst a person is in salah. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam has said, when one of you vomits in his salah, إِذَا قَاءَ أَحَدُكُمْ أَوْ رَأَفَ, or he experiences nosebleed, then he should go out, make wudu, ثُمَّ لَيَبْنِي عَلَى صَلَاتِهِ وَهُوَ فِي ذَلِكَ لَا يَتَكَلَّمُ. Let him go out, make wudu, come back and build upon the salah. The word the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam used is yabni. Let him build upon his salah, and this is as long as he does not break his wudu. Now that is building upon salah. This is the opposite of nullification of salah. In the building of the salah there, what the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam meant is that a person will, some factor will come upon an individual whereby their salah will become broken, and they will go and make wudu and continue their salah. These acts that we are going to comment upon inshallah are such acts whereby a person cannot continue the salah at all. If they have to do anything, they will have to restart their salah. If they have to do anything, they will have to restart their salah inshallah. So just brought the other side of the continuation of salah to make us understand what we are going to speak about today inshallah, and that is the breaking of the salah. We cannot build upon that anymore. We have to restart that salah. So there are certain factors which cause salah to become nullified. Such salah will have to be repeated. Such salah will have to be repeated. We cannot count that as salah. It will have to be redone. As opposed to what we mentioned about the sunnats of the salah. We leave out the sunnats of the salah. We do not have to worry about repeating the salah, because the sunnahs, yes, it is there to perfect the salah, but at the same time it does not cause it to become totally not considered. these acts here, my dear respected brothers and sisters, when done, will actually obliterate what we have done. It does, and it causes the salah to become null and void, which means that we will have to repeat the salah. So the first factor that is mentioned here of the nullifications of salah is to speak during salah, intentionally or unintentionally, nullifies the salah, even if it be a single word. To speak intentionally or unintentionally will nullify the salah. Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi is of the opinion that it will not nullify the salah when a person does it out of mistake or out of forgetfulness. And the Hanafi jurists are of the opinion that the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, Inna salatana hadihi la yuslihu fiha shay'un min kalamin nas wa innama hiya lit-tasbih wa innama hiya at-tasbihu wa tahlilu wa qira'atul Qur'an. The Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, he has said that this salah of ours, it is not suitable therein anything from the speech of mankind. Certainly it is made for tasbih, doing the glorification of Allah, tahleel, saying la ilaha illallah, and Quran, recitation of Quran. And according to us, we say that what Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi has narrated about, there is a hadith wherein Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, rufi'at an hadhihi al-ummati al-khata'u wa nisyan. That has been uplifted from this ummah, khata' wa nisyan, error and mistake and forgetfulness. When we do something out of forgetfulness, it will not cause our salah, it will not cause us to become sinful based upon this hadith. And this is what this is how Ahnaf interprets this tradition. On the other hand, you have Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi, who is of the opinion, rufi'at an hadhihi al-ummati al-khata'u wa nisyan, has been uplifted from this ummah, mistake or forgetfulness. He says, no problem, if you do it by mistake, then your salah will become, your salah is in order because of this hadith. The Hanafi jurists are of the opinion that initially kalam, speaking, was allowed during salah. And we mentioned that many a times. Until the ayat was revealed, وَقُومُوا لِلَّهِ قَانِتِينَ, and stand to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala submissively, then no type of kalam would be permitted whatsoever. No type of kalam. And just for the sake of argument, if any kalam would have been permissible, it would have been salams. Because salams is Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. You know, wishing peace and making dua for someone, that's not just vain talk. That is something that is making dua for other persons. We get blessings for that. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Afshu salam. Spread salams amongst yourselves. Afshu salam bainakum. But yet still, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, when the companions returned from Abyssinia, they gave salam to him, but they realized he wasn't returning salams. But what does the hadith mean? The Sahabas understood that before that, there was returning of salam. But afterwards, that was abrogated and it was no longer the case. And speaking in salah was not permitted. Speaking in salah was not permitted at all. Now, the Sahabas radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'een, we will mention more or less a bigger incident to this short hadith that we have mentioned here, according to the Hanafi jurists, to make us understand how the Sahabas also understood that a person should not speak while they're in salah. Hazrat Muawiyah ibn al-Hakam, he says, whilst we were performing salah with the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِذْ أَتَصَ رَجُلٌ مِّنَ الْقَوْمِ, when a man, he sneezed in salah. فَقُلْتُ يَرْحَمُكَ اللَّهِ, and I said, يَرْحَمُكَ اللَّهِ. Whenever somebody sneezes, automatically we say, يَرْحَمُكَ اللَّهِ. And that's, you know, sometimes the subconscious mind, it causes us to do things like this also. So the person said, يَرْحَمُكَ اللَّهِ. فَرَمَانِيَ الْقَوْمُ بِأَبْصَارِهِمْ. The people started to look at me with their eyes. The people started to look at me with their eyes. So, فَقُلْتُ وَاثَقُ اللَّهُ أُمِّيَّاهُ, may your mother be bereaved. مَا شَأْنُكُمْ, what is the matter with you all? What is the matter with you all? تَنْظُرُونَ إِلَيَّ, you are all looking at me. فَجَعَلُوا يَضْرِبُونَ بِأَيْدِيَهِمْ عَلَىٰ أَفْخَاذِهِمْ. So this Sahabi, he was speaking in the Salah in itself. And why did he start to speak? Because I'm not doing anything wrong. It shows that the Sahabas on this Sahabi, he knew the law from before. There was nothing wrong in talking in Salah. So he started to speak, and then, he is now asking, woe unto you all, why are you all looking at me like that? And فَجَعَلُوا يَضْرِبُونَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ عَلَىٰ أَفْخَاذِهِمْ. They started to hit their hands upon their thighs. In other words, be quiet. فَلَمَّا رَأَيْتُهُمْ يُسَمِّتُونَنِي لَكِنِّي سَكَتُّ. When I realized that they were trying to silence me, I remained quiet. فَلَمَّا صَلَّى رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. When the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam completed his salah, فَبِأَبِي هُوَ وَأُمِّي مَا رَأَيْتُ مُعَلِّمًا قَبْلَهُ وَلَا بَعْدَهُ أَحْسَنَ تَعْلِيمًا مِنْهُ. I never saw a teacher who was more better than him before him, nor after him, than the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. فَوَاللَّهِ مَا قَهَرَنِي وَلَا ضَرَبَنِي. By Allah, he didn't scold me, nor did he beat me. وَلَا شَتَمَنِي, he didn't abuse me at all. قَالَ إِنَّ هَذِهِ الصَّلَاةَ لَا يَصْلُهُ فِيهَا شَيْءٌ مِّن كَلَامِ النَّاسِ. This salah, it is not suitable in it for the speech of man. إِنَّمَا هِيَ التَّسْبِيحُ وَالتَّكْبِيرُ وَقِرَاءَةُ الْقُرْآنِ. Certainly it is therefore glorifying Allah, showing His praise, and recitation of the Holy Quran. Fahimtum? So this hadith of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam shows us, it teaches us a lot of things, as we were mentioning. It shows that how one companion understood that he was not doing something wrong. And when we learn about the ahwal of the Sahabas, all of them didn't learn everything at once. This is why sometimes you would see them doing something, but there's a difference between the action of the Sahabas and the action of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. There's a difference between an action of the Sahabas that the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam allowed, and a difference between the actions of the Sahabas that the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam didn't know about. What is hadith? Is that which Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam did, that which he said, or that which he did taqreer of. This is dalil in the Sharia. Taqreer, what he does, we know of that. What he did, he used miswak, that is sunnah. He said something, sleep like this, sleep on your right side, make wudu before you sleep. We know that is sunnah. He said that. What is taqreer? Taqreer is that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam saw something and he allowed it to happen. The Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he saw something and he allowed it to happen. So the point that we are making, my dear respected brothers and sisters, is that we have to understand, when we see a hadith of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, this is why we have to be very, very precautious in not just drawing conclusions from what we see. Otherwise, we would think that something is permissible, but in reality is not permissible. And this is, mashallah, what the scholars have done. They have looked at a wide range of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed from the Holy Quran, what the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam has mentioned, and then deduce a law. And sometimes this is why we mention the ikhtilaf of Imam Shafi, of Imam Abu Hanifa, of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi. Who are we speaking about? We are speaking about great, great scholars of the past, and they had ikhtilaf amongst themselves with regards to a ruling. This ikhtilaf did not make them enemies. Today, unfortunately, sometimes it seems that people are enemies when they speak about these things. And when we narrate it, it is like, you see, I told you, you all were wrong. It's not like that, my dear respected brothers and sisters. And we have to be open-minded and we have to understand the religion of Islam. The Sahabas radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, they used to do different things. They had differences of opinion, and this is where we get it from, as we commonly mention. And what we were saying is just as how this Sahabi came in, he didn't know that I should not speak in the Salah, so he started to speak until he recognized that it is something wrong. And until the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam actually told him. But there were Sahabas who were like this at the time of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as we were saying. Some would come, some would not come. All couldn't come at the same time. All couldn't come at the same time. So whenever they came and whenever they learned from someone else, this is how they will come to know about a new law. This is how they will come to know about a new law. Otherwise, how will they know? Revelation was not coming to them. Revelation was coming to the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Right? But mashallah, the Sahabas, they always had that inquisitiveness of learning. And they would never see something and not say something about it. But they would not say it, although they would say things like, you know, may your mother be bereaved and so on in the Arabic language. Or, you know, they said things, may your nose be rubbed in dust. Things like these, it never meant abuse or curse, like how we would say, ma'adallah, curses or send taunts against other people. This is not what they used to do. They used to mention these things in the sense of, look, I am confused or I need to clear up this issue. Therefore, what is the right thing? And the point being, again, my dear respected brothers and sisters, is that, mashallah, this is how the A'imma Mujtahideen have tried to extract from the ahadith of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the Holy Quran. And we see Imam Shafi rahmatullahi alayhi here is still of the opinion that what? If we do it forgetfully or we do it by mistake, then it does not cause the salah to become broken. However, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi and the Hanafi jurists are of the opinion, khair. Yes, this hadith is there. So if we speak in salah, remember we mentioned that when we start our salah, we can't just start to speak and do something else. We are in the sanctity of salah. La tubtilu a'malakum. We cannot just break our salah like that. So therefore, if we break our salah intentionally, then we will be sinful without any valid reason. Just walk out and go about our business and start to eat something else afterwards. We cannot do that. But if it is because of a mistake, then we did it. Inshallah, rufi'at an hadhihi al-ummati al-khata'u wan-nisyan. Aw kama qala alayhi salatu wassalam, has been uplifted from this ummah, mistake and forgetfulness. So this is how the Hanafi jurists explain this hadith. And the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as he clearly taught this Sahabi, is that salah, it is not a place of speech. So we cannot perform our salah and say something, whether intentionally or unintentionally, even if it be a single word. Even if it be a single word. We are performing salah and a person is calling outside and they are saying, Assalamu alaikum. And we are worried now that they will leave. We are worried that they will leave. So we say, yes. If we say this, our salah will become broken, even if it is a single word. Even if it be a single word. Why? It is kalamun nas. And salah is not suitable for the kalam of people. Right? So, intentionally or unintentionally. Right? Intentionally, unintentionally. Unintentionally means like, for example, we are performing salah at our homes, and our baby is right next to us, and we are worried now about the child. The child can fall. So we are performing our salah, and we say, look out. It will cause our salah to become broken. Even though we did it unintentionally, it was just more or less a subconscious reaction. It means that our salah will become broken. So, kalamun nas, the speech of people, that speech which we speak amongst ourselves, it would cause the salah to become nullified. Even if it be a single word, yes, no, help, right, don't, anything. Without necessity to clear one's throat, producing a word or a sound that can be spelt will cause the salah to become null and void. If it were to be done out of necessity for recitation of the Quran, then the salah will not become null and void. Now, what has been spoken about here, my dear respected brothers and sisters, and the point is, this is the clearing of the truth. If we have to spell out, we want to say, the teacher was teaching, and he cleared his throat. He said, we might spell this as AH/EH or EM, something like that. AM, right? AM, something like that. So different people will spell it different ways, but now it makes a mention here that a word or a song that can be spelt. So sometimes these things bring confusion. What is spelt and what about all this? Why is it mentioning like this? The fuqaha, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them great in-depth knowledge. So they try to make principles whereby you and I would be able to know. They made principles whereby you and I would be able to know that, you know what, this really is a breaker of salah. But there are some sounds that come out of the body. Let's say, for example, when the fingers crack, then that happens unintentionally sometimes, and the bones crack. Or sometimes a person doesn't even intend a belch, a burp, and something comes out of the mouth. All these will create a sound. Now, why they have mentioned about a word or song that can be spelt, it doesn't mean that the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, if you say a word with alif, lam, mim, anything like that. No, what they are referring to, my dear respected brothers and sisters, is that according to the norms of the people, then we would know what is a word. According to the norms of the people, we would know what is a word. And different people, according to their different lughat and languages, they will know that, look, you are still trying to mock me, or you are trying to say something, or why are you closing your mouth and speaking? So different people, my dear respected brothers and sisters, they will have different words of expressions. The Chinese, they may express their laughter in a different way. The Indian people, they may express happiness in a different way. African people, they may also have different modes of expressions, because they are simply different people. We hear the tongue itself, it sounds so different. English sounds different. English from America sounds different. English from England sounds different. Chinese sounds different. Malaysian sounds different. All these different languages, whatever have you, Spanish, Urdu, Arabic, it sounds different. So in everyone's language, they will know that, look, you know, that means a person needs help. In English, we say, help, help. Or a person will scream. When a person screams, we know that they need help, right? But sometimes in a different way, and we will come up to that inshallah with regards to feeling of pain, different people can express pain in a different way. In English, we say ouch, but probably in some other language, ouch could mean yes, right? So you pinch a person and you say ouch, and he thinks yes, so he goes and pinches him again, right? Because according to him, ouch means yes, and according to us, ouch means it's hurting. So he pinches us and we say ouch. He says, mashallah, he likes it. He pinches him again, because we are saying ouch. To him it means yes, to us it means it's hurting. So the point that we are making, my dear respected brothers and sisters, the jurists have made these types of principles for us to understand that, look, in your terminology, don't try to say ow is not a word. You know amongst yourself, if someone were to hit you in your stomach, you would say ow. So therefore, if you said ow in your salah will be broken, clear-cut case. Right? Because why? It is according to your terminology. And it is according to your way. And most people, alhamdulillah, you have an expression like that, that would cause your salah to become invalid. So this is where they have come to statements like producing a word or a song that can be spelt. It means that it is something that can be considered as we have spoken. It is something that can be considered that we have spoken with the kalam in nas. Is not part of the Quran. Is not part of the Quran. But what has been mentioned here also is that if we are clearing our throat out of necessity, the salah will not become invalid. The salah will not become invalid. But if we clear our throat that causes a word to be produced which can be spelt, then the salah will become null and void. What is being spoken about here, my dear respected brothers and sisters? Sometimes we know what is called sinus problem. We are performing our salah and we are reciting A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. And now the voice starts to break very bad. The voice starts to break that if I were to continue reciting, it gets more tight and more tight. So myself, I cannot hear the word properly, and the people behind me wouldn't be able to hear properly, so I say, Now, if we were to write that the Imam was performing Salah, and he said, we would spell it, because we have to express it so that other people will understand that this is what the Imam did. So, what happens is, my dear respected brothers and sisters, if it is out of necessity that we did that, then it will not cause our salah to become invalid. But if it is not out of necessity, then it would cause the salah to become invalid. And this is something that people should be very, very precautious about. Salah is not a place whereby, mashallah, everyone has to hear us at our finest tone. Yes, we want to perform salah with a lovely tone, but not after every stanza of the Quran or every verse of the Quran. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. And then we are going on like that. And after the surah, we want to make a big pull. So now we are going. And everybody has to understand like we are the biggest Qari. Right? So the point is, salah, we have to be very, very precautious with our salah. Do not do these things, otherwise our salah can become invalid. Yes, as it is mentioned in the notes here, there are times of necessity for sure. There are times of necessity for sure. We do it out of necessity. But if we say something whereby it can be spelt, it can cause our salah to become null and void. The next factor that would cause salah to become null and void is to cry aloud during salah due to some pain or bad news would nullify the salah. To cry aloud in salah due to some pain or bad news will nullify the salah. And this is something that we have to be very careful about. We are performing salah, and mashallah, when we are performing salah, we are engrossed in the salah. We think that, you know what, sometimes a person we may not even know what is the meaning, but we understand that we are doing something holy. We are understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while we are performing the salah. This is what the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said. So, we feel pain. We probably we would have done a surgery, and now we are going into sajda, and we are feeling this pain. And now, it shouldn't be that the person thinks that they are crying to Allah And Allah will give them shifa because it is like a dua. Salah is not for dua. Yes, when we are in dua, we can raise our hands and say, oh Allah, it is hurting. And we are mourning in it because, it's hurting, oh Allah, please give me shifa. We can do that in dua, inshallah. But salah, we cannot do things like that and expect that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will think that, you know what, we are expressing our pain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Allah will give us shifa out of that. And this is just by way of example, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Due to some pain we are going now, and now, oh, ouch. If we do that, our salah will become invalid. Khair, we will feel pain. We will feel pain, and obviously it will hurt. But if we can do the movements of salah, then alhamdulillah, we should do it. And we can take our time, inshallah, but we should not moan and groan. Because when we moan and groan due to the pain, our salah will become invalid. Simply because salah is not a place of speech of mankind. And although it is moaning or groaning because of the pain, it is yet still from the speech of mankind. Or due to some bad news, we are performing salah. For example, people are in a dead house, people are in a house whereby a person is, they know that the person could die anytime. People are performing their salah there. So, all of a sudden, they start to hear a loud hue and cry coming from the room that the person is. So, they suspect that the person passed away. And they are performing salah. And now, they also let out a hue and cry. Right? And they, because they are thinking about what? My father has gone, my mother has gone. Now we can cry. We can cry while we are performing salah. And yes, we are human beings, so we are affected. We are performing salah and tears are rolling down the eyes. This point means, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we cannot be saying, oh Allah, you took him. Right? Oh, he's gone. We can't do anything like that. Our salah will become invalid. Or again, we are crying and we cannot control our emotion, and therefore we are uncontrollably going and we are making loud songs because of the bad news. Because of the bad news. Then if we have to do that, no problem, do not pray at that time. If we have to break our salah, it is better we break our salah because we cannot perform salah at this time, and we will perform it a little bit afterwards. Get a hold of ourselves and perform the salah. But we do not have to perform our salah in the fit of emotion. And what does it mean, my dear respected brothers and sisters? At the point of time when a person is in a fit of their emotion, I now got the news that my father has passed away. I now got the news that my mother has passed away. At that time, we wouldn't want to drink water. At that time, we wouldn't want to eat. At that time, if somebody says, do you want a piece of cake? We wouldn't want cake at that time. So likewise, we do not perform salah at that time, and we perform salah at a suitable time, right? Even if time is running out, means that we have to get ourselves in order and perform our salah, inshallah. On the contrary, if one cries aloud in salah, due to the mention of Jannah or Jahannam in salah, then such salah will not become null and void. Now, we are hearing about Jannah and Jahannam. We are hearing about Jannah and Jahannam, and this causes us to cry in the salah. Then, my dear respected brothers and sisters, it would not cause our salah to become broken. And simply, it is because in the salah, salah is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we are hearing about the punishment of Allah in the Holy Quran, it can, yes, cause us to become emotional and we can start to cry. And now, it causes us to make a noise while we are crying. Then it is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But salah, we don't perform salah and we are crying because we don't have money. We don't perform salah and if we cry because we don't have money, it means that we would not be making a sound. But again, Allah knows best, I'm just bringing my own example with regards to sometimes a person will feel that, you know what, they are in salah, so I have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what I want. Dua is for that, inshallah. Right? Generally speaking, dua is for that, whereby we can cry and beg Allah and tell Allah, oh Allah, I don't have money. But the thing is that our emotions will be there, and when we are performing salah, yes, that which is affecting us, we can't just move it away. However, we have to get our act together and perform our salah. We have to get our act together and perform our salah. So, again, if we cry aloud in salah due to the mention of Jannah or Jahannam, then our salah will not become null and void. It is attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that would not cause the salah to become null and void. Another factor that would cause salah to become invalid is to beg Allah in salah of such things that can be obtained from people that would cause the salah to become nullified. Example, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for money in salah. However, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in salah for mercy and forgiveness, as well as to recite dua of the Quran and hadith, will not cause the salah to become null and void. So what has been spoken about here? Not at the time of Qiraat al-Quran. In Qiyam, it's only Qiraat. No one has any question about that. When we are standing, reciting Quran, it's only Quran that we can recite. In the At-Tahiyat position, after At-Tahiyat, there's Darul Sharif and the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made dua. Now, there are different ad'iyas that the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to mention. But whilst we are there, we cannot say now du'as that would resemble the speech of people. We cannot say wordings that would resemble the speech of people, or ask from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala things that can be obtained from people. Oh Allah, grant me money. Oh Allah, I need to build a house. Give me money to build a house. Salah has not been placed for that. Dua afterwards, we can do that inshallah. Dua afterwards, we can ask for whatever we want. But how the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has taught us, he didn't say, oh Allah, get me married to this beautiful woman who lives next door to me. We cannot say things like that. We cannot say anything because we can go and ask her father to get us married to her. Right? So we cannot say things that we can seek from human beings. Oh Allah, I do not have teacups in my house. Please grant me teacups. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. No. Even if we say it in the Arabic language, Allahumma zawwijni ila fulana. It might sound, mashallah, like it's the tune, but no, we cannot do that, inshallah, right? So therefore, we cannot become specific and mention these things in our salah. To ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in salah for mercy and forgiveness, as well as to recite a dua of the Quran and hadith, will not cause the salah to become null and void. Whatever the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in his salah, that is sanctioned by the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Whatever there is in Quran from the du'as, we can ask that, the Rabbanas. 40 Rabbanas, they come from the Quran. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. Oh Allah, atina fid dunya hasana, grant us in this world goodness. So we are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for worldly benefits. But we are not saying, oh Allah, grant me a bowl. Oh Allah, grant me a spoon. Oh Allah, I need a car. If we do that, we will break the salah. Because it's not word of Quran and word of ahadith of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But as long as it is words of Quran and the ahadith which the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, du'as that he mentioned in his salah, we can say it inshallah. Another factor that would cause the salah to become invalid is to greet, to reply to a greeting, to recite Alhamdulillah on hearing good news, etc. during the salah. That will cause the salah to become invalid. We are performing salah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Because somebody has just entered into the masjid, or they have just entered into our home. that would cause our salah to become broken. If somebody enters into our room, they enter into the masjid, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We say, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. We are performing salah, our salah will become invalid. We are hearing good news, probably performing salah, and we hear by the loudspeaker, the government has announced that Friday will be a public holiday. We say, Alhamdulillah, our salah will become invalid because we are saying Alhamdulillah on account of some worldly benefit. Salah is not fixed for that. Salah is not about kalam. Salah is not about communication to people, although in as much as Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, it is a dua, but it is used for khitab, address. It is used as a greeting, so therefore we cannot use it. To recite Alhamdulillah after sneezing in salah would not cause the salah to become null and void, but however should be avoided. To say Alhamdulillah after sneezing in salah will not cause the salah to become null and void, but it should be avoided. It should be avoided. What has been said here, my dear respected brothers and sisters, is that if a person is performing salah and they sneeze, and even mashallah subconsciously they mention Alhamdulillah, their salah will not become invalid. It is doing the dhikr of Allah when we have done something. Sometimes it happens probably subconsciously, but to recite it in salah, it for our own selves will not cause the salah to become null and void, but it should be avoided. Our intention should not be every time I sneeze I will say Alhamdulillah, but if it happens, then it would not cause the salah to become invalid. To recite, however, Yarhamukallah during salah upon the sneezing of another person would cause the salah to become null and void. We hear somebody else sneeze, we say Yarhamukallah. That would cause their salah to be our salah, not their salah. It would cause our salah to become invalid. Of course, to a greater extent, if a person were to say something like Ma'adallah bless you or whatever have you, anything that a person mentions upon the sneezing of the person, that would cause the salah to become invalid. Another factor that would cause the salah to become invalid is to do an act which does not form part of the salah during salah will cause the salah to become nullified. Example, eating, drinking, writing, etc. Salah, it has specific acts to be done. This is why we mention the prerequisites of salah. Before the actual salah, there's preparation to be done. Salah is not something whereby we don't know how to perform it, or if we can or cannot do this. Salah is a fixed thing. 4 rakats, 2 rakats, 3 rakats. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam didn't leave it up to us. We know what it is from beginning to end. So therefore, if we do something that does not form part of the salah, that could cause the salah to become nullified. Because in salah, again, there are specific things to be done, and we cannot go beyond that. And we cannot do things out of those allowable acts in salah. Yes, in qiyam we will recite Quran, right? We will recite Quran, and our hands will be banded, and we cannot move up our hands in salah. Like how probably a person is giving a lecture and he will speak, and Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. We cannot raise our hands like that because this does not form part of salah. You overdo it, it can cause the salah to become invalid. Eating and drinking. We cannot be performing salah and having a snack. Or sometimes, ma'adallah, a person may have a sweetie in their mouth. Sweetie, slash candy or chewing gum. They started their salah and then they realized that this thing is still in my mouth. If they, so to say, let it out with amalun qalil, small action, probably just let it slide down in the pocket, top pocket, something like that, then it takes away from that if they did not swallow the juice that is produced from that sweetie or that chewing gum. And this is what the scholars have mentioned, right? That a person has something there. They are performing their salah. Even if a person sticks it behind their teeth, that juice, it is going to mix up in the saliva, and now they are going to taste that. That will break the salah. As opposed to just before their salah, they spit out the candy, sweetie, the chewing gum. Now, they rinse their mouth, but they came and they performed their salah. You are still getting like a taste. That will not break the salah. That is essence. That is just atharat, effects that remains from the candy in the mouth, not the actual candy. So we cannot eat while we are performing salah, nor can we just even, we are thinking we are making little action, one mouthful, and we are chewing, as well as listening to the imam. If it is Tarawih salah, example, that will cause our salah to become invalid. If we are drinking, we cannot drink in salah. So many different types of devices nowadays, right? You see that there are these backpacks that you can ride with them, you can walk with them. It has a big straw. You have it right there by your mouth, and we are performing salah. Take a sip and continue. That will cause the salah to become broken. Writing, of course, taking out our pen, or we are performing salah and there's a table right by us. We remember something and we don't want to forget, so we just jot it down quickly. It causes the salah to become broken. It causes the salah to become broken. The next point that would cause the salah to become broken is to overdo an act in salah would cause the salah to become null and void. To overdo an act in salah. Some jurists have defined an overdone act as an act done to such an extent that an observer will definitely consider such person not to be in salah. Right? And we will pause at this point, inshallah, right? Because this will take some explanation, inshallah, and we will try as much as possible to explain it in detail for us to understand this in our next day's session, right? So we will continue with that point, inshallah. To overdo an act in salah will cause that salah to become invalid, and explain a few views of the ulama with regards to what is considered really as an overdone act. So we will stop there today, inshallah, and we will continue next day with the nullifiers of salah, the mufsidat of salah. Jazakumullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أشكو